All right, let's begin. So our topic for today is about bank reconciliation. So for our learning objectives, we have four. First is to describe the nature of a bank reconciliation statement. Next is to identify common reconciling items and describe each of them. Analyze the effects of the identified reconciling items. And lastly, is for you to prepare a bank reconciliation statement. All right? So, kapag nasa work na kayo or nasa corporate world na, ang isang business, meron niyang basic internal controls over cash. Cash is the most sensitive asset of a company. So that's why kailangan ng internal control, meaning within company pa lang, dapat meron ng control over cash. Okay? So we have four basic internal controls over cash. First one is bank reconciliation. So bank reconciliation, it is being done internally. Okay? This bank recon is being performed by the company's accountant. It is an internal control over cash receipts and disbursement. It helps reveal error and must be performed regularly. Normally guys, yung bank reconciliation, this is being done on a monthly basis. Okay? So yung number one, yan yung topic natin for today. But let's discuss other internal controls for your information. Next is impressed system. So what is impressed system? It requires that all cash receipts should be deposited intact and all cash disbursements should be made through checks. So under impressed system, yung example, grocery store, lahat dapat ng laman ng kaha for that day, i-deposit mo lahat yan. Okay? And any disbursement, say for example, babayaran mo yung supplier. Nag-deliver ng isang truck na Argentina, babayaran mo siya. You need to make sure na yung ipambabayad mo dun sa nag-deliver is check. Okay? So that's the impress system. By doing that, you can be sure na lahat ng cash na hawak-hawak mo madi-deposit at lahat ng expenses mo is being recorded or is being transacted through checks. So meron kang proper monitoring of your expenses. Kaso si Impress system medyo matrabaho siya, okay? Especially if you're going to deposit all your cash in a day. Kasi the following day, meron na namang requirement for cash. Saan ka na naman kukuha? Problema na naman yon. So, Impress system, this is not really being used by companies. Siguro kung small company ka, yes, you can use this. But if malalaking kumpanya, medyo hindi siya advisable. Dahil, imagine niyo na lang, kinikita ni Jollibee in a day, million, and then you're going to deposit it, all of it, diba? So there's a different process being used by those big company. Minsan meron silang sariling mga vault in order to secure their cash. Next, check disbursement voucher. This is a report prepared for each check written. So kada susulat ka ng check, kada magbabayad ka through check, sulat mo. Alright? Yung purpose ng check disbursement voucher is to provide reasonable assurance that each check written is properly authorized. So, kailangan pag tinignan mo yung check disbursement voucher and merong isang cheque doon na, oops, nawawala tong check number na to. Hindi siya na-record sa check disbursement voucher natin. So, alam mo na agad na meron discrepancy with your disbursements. Okay, you need to investigate on that. By doing that then, parang you are minimizing yung time needed to investigate on things. And lastly, petty cash voucher. This is very common, especially sa mga grocery stores, small entities. So a petty cash voucher is normally being maintained. Ano ba to? It is used to provide reasonable assurance that all disbursement from the petty cash fund are properly authorized. So, di ba, na-mention natin nakaraan, meron tayong mini-maintain na petty cash fund. Word itself, petty, meaning small amount of money. That is being set aside in order for the company or in order for the employee to pay for minimal expenses. Okay? Mamari may gumawa ng aircon, kailangan niyang pakainin, order ka sa Jollibee, you don't need to withdraw pa. You can just pay 79 pesos for one piece chicken. O kung dalawa sila, you can just get from your petty cash fund 200 pesos. So that's the very purpose of petty cash fund, right? So we are maintaining petty cash voucher para we can be sure na lahat ng mini expenses natin is properly authorized. Kasi minsan, dito nagkakaroon din ng discrepancy. Imagine mo, meron kang 10,000 as petty cash fund. And then, dahil maliliit lang yung expenses, hindi mo na na-record yung mga transactions. So, lapse na agad yun. It's already, for investigation. That's why a petty cash voucher must be maintained as well. Okay? So any question, guys, clarification sa basic internal controls over cash? If none, please type 1. Okay, very easy pa. Yung next natin, dito na medyo nakakalito. So, of course, yung topic natin is bank reconciliation, right? Meron tayong sources of details in cash in bank account. So, word itself, cash in bank account. Pera sa bangko. So, saan ba natin kinukuha yung details ng pera natin sa bank? So, we have two. That's why it is being called bank reconciliation. You need to reconcile these two sources, okay? These two sources of cash. You need to make sure na kung magkano yung pera sa bangko, yun din dapat yung pera sa libro ng kumpanya nyo. Number 1, cash in bank ledger account of the entity. So guys, si company, nagme-maintain yan ng cash in bank account. So, si company, meron niyang libro, tinatawag na books ni company. And on that book, merong specific T account, merong specific ledger na ang heading is cash in bank. Ibig sabihin nun, eto yung pera ng kumpanya sa bangko. Okay? So, that's the first source of details in cash in bank. Second one is bank statement issued by the bank. So yung una, ayun yung record ko. Ayun yung record ng company. Okay company, ito yung pera natin sa bangko as of October 31, 2021. Ngayon, kaya siya tinawag na bank reconciliation because si bank, magbibigay siya ng bank statement at year-end. Uy, company, ito pala yung laman ng bangko mo on October 31, 2021. Pag may nakitang discrepancy doon, ibig sabihin hindi reconciled yung account mo, hindi reconciled yung cash mo. Therefore, you need to prepare a bank reconciliation statement. Doon siya magsisimula ngayon. Kasi, talari si company, ang laman ng books niya, cash in bank ledger amounting to 1,000 pesos. Nung binigay ni bangko yung bank statement ni company, laman 1,000 pesos. There's no need to perform bank reconciliation kasi it's already reconciled. Bangga. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng pera as recorded sa libro ni company, ayun din yung record sa libro ni bank. So wala tayong problema. But there are instances na si company, ang laman ng cash in bank niya, as per their books, okay, record niya, libro niya, nakita niya 500,000. Nung dumating yung bank statement as provided by the bank, ang laman lang 400,000. So may 100,000 difference. Yung difference na yun, you have to discover that. At doon na tayo ngayon magpo-perform ng bank reconciliation. Following guys, nasusundan pa. Are we clear so far? Advance si Aileen, no? Number 2 na daw. Type number 2, sige. If it is understood. Wala pa yung complication dito, ah. So again, I want you to remember na dalawa yung pinag-uusapan natin dito at yung dalawang records na yon ang kailangan nating i-reconcile. So, si bank statement, okay? Ito si bank statement. Ito yung discuss natin last time, yung normally binibigay ni bangko. Increase in entities cash credit account. Diba last time, kapag nasa credit column, ibig sabihin, your account has been credited by 1,000. So, if we are talking about bank statement, lahat ng laman ng credit side increases the entity's cash. Whereas, kapag na-debit yung account mo, ibig sabihin, nabawasan yung cash mo sa bangko. Huwag mo na kayong malito ito pa lang na-discuss natin last time. Bank statement, kapag credit side, it means it increases the entity's cash. Pag may na-credit sa account mo sa bangko, ibig sabihin tumaas yung cash deposits mo. If na-debit yung account mo sa bangko, ibig sabihin may withdrawals or may deduction sa cash mo sa bank. Kasi I need you to remember that because with the ledger. So si ledger, again, ito yung libro ni company. Dito na ngayon pumapasok yung debit, credit recording natin. And as normal recording, okay, increase in cash means debit side. Diba? Kapag nakakolekta ka ng receivable, ano ang entry? Debit, cash, credit, accounts receivable. Ibig sabihin, may pumasok na pera sa kumpanya, nabawasan yung receivable mo. Kaya mo kinredit yung receivable. You are crediting an asset and debiting cash. Another example, if bumili ka ng computer for the company, ano ang entry? Debit, computer, ibig sabihin, may pumasok na computer sa'yo, credit, cash. Nabawasan ka ng cash kasi pinambayad mo sa computer. Therefore, kapag naka-credit ang cash mo sa ledger account, it means it decreases your cash. So again, there are two books that you need to understand. If bank statement ang pinag-uusapan, yung credit side niya, it increases the entity's cash. While yung debit side ni bank statement, it decreases the entity's cash. Sa books naman, kay ledger, this is the basic accounting. Increase in cash means debit in cash, debit asset. Decrease in cash means crediting an asset, crediting cash. So if nalito ka, simula kasi ito ang alam mo, and then perform the opposite in order for you to understand ano nga ba yung effect ni cash kapag bank statement yung pinag-uusapan. Following guys, if nakakasunod, please type 3. Okay. So, sa exciting part na tayo. Bank reconciliation statement. A bank reconciliation statement is a report that is prepared for the purpose of bringing the balances of cash per ledger, so si book records natin, and per bank statement, yung pinaprovide ni bank, into agreement. Kailangan agree si book records at si bank records. So, ito yung mga reconciling items ni bank balance. So, ibig sabihin, kung hindi bangga si book tsaka si bank, there's something wrong. And these are the items na bank balance reconciling items. Ibig sabihin, pag nakita mo tong mga items na to, ibig sabihin nun, it has an impact on the bank balance. Okay? Hindi mo siya gagamitin sa book balance. Uy, nawawalan tayo ng 100,000, nakakita ko nito. It's a bank reconciling items. And then, ipaperform mo siya sa book. Mali na agad yung magiging total mo. That's why you have to remember this. Very easy lang to. 3 items lang siya that you need to remember. What are these? First, deposit in transit. When we say deposit in transit, these are the deposits already made but not yet received by the bank, or received by the bank but not yet credited to the depositor's bank account. So guys, when we say deposit in transit, grocery store, and sabi natin 4 p.m., naghahabol sila ng bangko. Inutusan ngayon yung kung sino mang nagde-deposit ng pera. Oy, 4 p.m. na, you need to deposit this, 100,000. Okay? So, kapag abot mo ng pera doon sa kung sino man magdi-deposit, ire-record mo na agad yan sa libro mo. Ang record mo na agad yan sa libro, debit, cash in bank. Ibig sabihin, ipapasok mo yung pera sa bangko, credit, cash in hand. Ibig sabihin, tatanggalin ko sa kamay ko kasi ipapasok ko na sa bangko. Okay? So, if nagtataka kayo minsan nakakita kayo sa balance sheet na dalawang line item ng cash, isa cash in bank, isa cash in hand, it's because of that. Inutusan mo yung staff, deposit mo na to sa bangko, 100,000. So, ikaw, as an accountant, the moment na turn over na yung cash dun sa staff, re-record mo na agad yan. Uy, 100,000, debit, cash in bank. Credit, cash in hand. Kasi mawawala na siya sa kamay ko. Mapupunta na siya sa bangko. Ngayon, along the way, okay, hindi umabot yung staff na traffic. Kasi sa Makati yung grocery, sa Pasig yung nearest bank na napuntahan niya. And it so happened na traffic. Okay? So, inabot siya 5 p.m. na, nasa kalsada pa siya. So, ibig sabihin, pagdating na sa bangko, sarado na si bank. Okay? So, if on that day, sabihin natin, it's already October 31, 2021, nag-generate si bank ng bank statement, hindi na papasok yung 100,000 na yon. Kasi hindi na umabot yon sa cut-off. Alright? So, kung kung ang record ni Bok, nag-deposit, meron tayong 400,000 doon kay BPI Pasig. And then, nag-deposit pa tayo ngayon, nagpapadeposit pa ako ngayon ng additional 100,000. So, ang total book balance natin is 500,000. Under bank balance, under bank statement, meron lang siyang recorded na 400,000. Why is that? Kasi hindi umabot yung last 100,000 na supposedly i-deposit ng staff nila. Pero dahil sarado na si bank, wala na. Alright? So, si bank, ang record lang niya ng cash is 400,000. Si company, ang record niya sa cash in bank, 500,000. May discrepancy. Now, we have to perform bank reconciliation. So, we have to look at the bank statement and at the same time, look at the ledger. Tignan mo. Alright, pumasok lahat ng 400,000 ko sa bangko, may nawawalang 100K. So, dun pa lang alam mo na agad na deposit in transit yung naging problema. Normally, nangyayari yung discrepancy kapag month-end. Kasi yung iba, early generation of bank statement, hindi na pumapasok yung mga last-minute deposits. So, doon nagkakaroon ng bank reconciling item. Nasundan yung deposit in transit. Or isa pang example niyan, nakaabot si staff. Pero pagdating niya dun sa bangko, down daw yung system. Tomorrow pa daw madideposit. The next day, November 1 na. Holiday pa. So, November 2 pa papasok yung pera sa bank statement. Diba? So, hindi na siya aabot. It will be treated as bank reconciling item. Later, makikita nyo paano yan pinapresent, ma'am. But for now, gusto ko lang maintindihan nyo muna yung definition ng each item. Okay. So, if it's a deposit in transit, ano yung effect niya sa bank balance? It is an addition. Kaya kailangan mo siyang i-add sa bank balance in order for you to reconcile with the book balance. So, yung 100,000, pag nag-perform ka ng bank reconciliation, kailangan i-add mo siya doon sa 400,000 na bank balance. Parang magiging total mo ngayon 500,000. That way, balance na. Ang recording ko sa bank, 500,000. Ang recording ko sa ledger or sa books ko, 500,000 din. Therefore, reconciled ako. Okay? So, please remember the effect of deposit in transit. It is an addition on the bank balance. Never add it sa book balance. Book balance has its own reconciling item. If you see deposit in transit, it only has an impact on the bank balance. Reconciling item lang siya ni bank balance. Next, outstanding check. These are checks drawn and released to payees but are not yet encashed with the bank. So si company, may nag-deliver sa kanyang gardenia. Grocery pa rin tayo, nag-deliver ng gardenia. Binayaran niya, nagsulat ng cheque si accounting, 20,000, pay to the order of gardenia, blah, 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 blah. So kung nagsulat na yan ng cheque, ibig sabihin nun, magre-record na agad yan. Debit, inventory, gardenia, credit, cash in bank. Bakit cash in bank, ma'am? Ba't hindi cash in hand? Kasi cheque yung binigay mo, hindi naman pera. Kung pera ang binigay mo, di sulat mo dyan cash in hand. But if it's a check, meaning withdrawable yan, doon PPI Pasig account ni company. So again kapag nag-deliver si gardenia, babayaran mo siya. Ang entry natin, debit, inventory, gardenia. Ibig sabihin, nadagdagan yung supplies mo. Credit, cash in bank. So, by doing that, yes, Villanueva. Ana, Clarice?
Napindot lang po.
Okay. So, by doing that, alam mo na agad na, nagbayad ako nagbigay na ako ng cheque kay gardenia. Ibig sabihin, dapat nababawasan na ngayon yung cash in bank ko by 20,000. Ngayon, si gardenia, tinamad. Marami pa daw siyang pera. Next month niya na daw i-encash yung cheque. Kasi may stale pa naman yung check after 6 months, di ba? So, pwede niya bang hawakan yan kahit December niya pa i-deposit yan, good pa rin yan. Huwag niya lang lukutin, huwag niya lang punitin. Okay? So, if ganun yung gagawin ni gardenia, it only means na walang visibility si bank doon sa check issued ni company. Until the time na pumunta sa kanya si gardenia, BPI Pasig, deposit mo nga to sa account ko or i-encash mo nga itong 20,000. Doon pa lang ngayon mababawasan yung bank account ni company. Pero hanggat hindi dinideposit yan ng kung sino man Poncio Pilatong binayaran ng company na yan, hanggat nasa kamay pa ng mga suppliers yung cheque, hindi magagalaw yung cash sa bangko. Intact pa yun. Okay? So that's why it is called outstanding check. Kung si company, ang record na niyan, di ba kanina may 400,000 and then 100,000, edi 500K na yung cash niya. Here comes check payment to gardenia. Therefore, if it's a payment less 20,000. So, as per the book, ang cash na lang natin is 480,000. Pero nung tiningnan yung bangko, ang laman pa rin ni bank is 500K. Yung 400,000 na initial cash plus 100,000 na deposit in transit. So 500,000 lang. In order for you to reconcile it with the 480K as per book, you need to subtract any outstanding checks. Asusundan? So again if it's a deposit in transit, kailangan mo siyang i-add sa bank balance mo para mahabol nyo yung balance ni book. If it's an outstanding check, kailangan mo siyang i-deduct sa bank balance mo para mahabol mo yung book balance. And lastly, last thing that you have to remember, bank errors. Yes, nagkakamali rin yung banks. So yung mga errors na yun, it also has an impact sa bank reconciliation mo. So ma'am, paano kaya nagkakamali yung bangko? Example, ang account number is 123456789. Si bangko, nagkamali siya, tinype niya 123456788. O di ibig sabihin nun, hindi yun madideposit sa account mo, madideposit yun sa ibang account. It's already a bank error. Okay? Ano pa? Another thing, nag-deposit ka ng 96 pesos. Okay? Nag-abot ka kay bank ng 96. Si bank, ang na-record lang niya, 69. So, ibig sabihin, kulang. So, in order for the bank to correct it, kailangan niyang i-add back yung error na yon para maging 96 yung total amount deposited. So, those are the example of the bank errors na nagagawa ni bank sa account natin. Meron pang iba, dineposit sa, kanari, ang pangalan ng account is ABM Company. Pinasok sa AMB Company. Okay? So, magkakaroon ng error talaga yon. If so, we need to correct it. Okay? Kaya nga tayo gumagawa ng bank reconciliation is in order for us to correct any errors being done by the bank or by the book. So, what are bank errors? It's an erroneous debit. So, guys, again if it's an erroneous debit, ibig sabihin, na-debit yung account mo erroneously. Therefore, binawasan nila yung account mo erroneously. In order to correct it, you need to add the error back. Alright? If it's an erroneous credit, ibig sabihin, dinagdagan nila yung account mo erroneously. Therefore, you need to deduct it. Kailangan mong i-minus uli yun, kailangan mong bawiin yun. Okay? Para mag-match siya or maging in agreement siya sa kung ano mga recorded sa libro ni company. Nasusundan, guys? If yes, please type 4. So these are the only items that you remember under bank balance reconciling items. First, deposit in transit. So ito yung mga late deposits, kaya siya tinawag na in transit, nasa daan pa. Alright? Next, outstanding checks. Ito yung mga cheque na hindi pa ini-encash pero nirelease mo na, in-issue mo na. And lastly, bank errors. Ito yung mga mali ni banks. So, 3 lang yan. Yung bank errors, wag kayong malilito. If it's an erroneous debit, ibig sabihin, nabawasan yung account mo erroneously. In order to correct it, add it back. If it's an erroneous credit, ibig sabihin, nadagdagan yung account mo erroneously. In order to correct it, deduct. Following? Guys, if naintindihan, please type 4 before I move on to book reconciling. Or if you have question, please ask. Yan na. Okay na, hindi nag-update yung messages kanina. Alright. So we're done with the bank balance reconciling item. Let's move on to ledger balance reconciling item or book balance reconciling item. Again, when you hear ledger balance, ito yung libro ni company. Ito yung mine-maintain na record ni company. If you already have a business, if you are owning a company already, dito mo nililista lahat ng transactions mo sa ledger. Okay? So, we have four ledger balance reconciling item. First one is a credit memo. Ano ang credit memo? These are additions or bank credits made by the banks to the depositor's bank account but not yet recorded by the depositor. This includes collections made by the bank on behalf of the depositor, interest earned, and proceeds from loan directly credited or added by the bank to the depositor's account. So first one, guys, we have credit memo. So again, kapag kay bangko nagkaroon ng credit memo, ibig sabihin na-credit yung account mo, nadagdagan yung account mo. So si bank, may pumasok na credit memo, okay? May pumasok na credit, dadagdag ngayon yung cash in bank. Walang visibility doon si books. Ano yung mga example nun? Example, nakakolekta si bangko ng payment from a supplier. Alright? Kamari, di ba, sa Shopee or sa, sabihin natin, online shopping or sa Facebook, ano ba yan? Yung pag nagmamine ka sa Facebook, di ba normally, pinoprovide ni seller yung bank details niya and super busy pa siyang mag-online selling. So, hindi niya ngayon alam magkano na yung pumapasok na pera sa account niya. Si bangko lang yung may alam nun. Kinokolekta ni bangko on behalf of the seller. Therefore, those are additions to the account of the seller and those are called credit memos. Malalaman lang ni ledger account or ni company yung mga collections na yon once na pinrovide na ni bank, yung bank statement. Makikita na ngayon ni company na, uy, ang daming payments, nagbayad na si ano, si ganto, si ganyan, si ganyan. And in order to reconcile it, ang gagawin ngayon ni company or ni accountant, i-add niya ngayon sa cash balance niya per ledger yung mga payments received from the customers. And another way then, in order for the company to reconcile it, pwede niya rin tingnan yung mga screenshots, di ba? Di ba pag nagbabayad sa online seller, kailangan you need to send the screenshot to the seller. That way, meron siyang, they can counter-check if indeed nabayaran nga yung binili nung buyer. So again, if it's a credit memo, it's an addition on the bank balance and in order for you to reconcile it with the book, kailangan mo siyang i-add sa book balance. Kasi, wari nagbebenta ka ng Louis Vuitton na bag for 100K. Nag-mine ngayon si A. So si A, dahil marami siyang pera, nag-bank transfer siya agad kay BPI Pasig, 100,000. So si A ngayon, di ba kanina naging 480K na tayo? Plus 100,000 na payment from A for payment dun sa Louis Vuitton na bag. So, yung total ng pera natin sa bangko is 580K. While sa ledger natin or sa book natin, ang alam lang natin na pera natin is 480,000. Until the time na makita natin yung bank statement and you have confirmed it with the screenshot sent to you by A, uy, nagbayad na pala si A. So, dun lang natin ngayon i-record. Debit, cash, credit, sales. Okay? So, dun ka ngayon magkakaroon ng recording sa cash. Nasundan, guys? Again, wag malilito, credit memo, it's a bank credit, therefore an addition to your book balance. Advance si Manuel. Sige, type 5 if nasundan. Mamaya may illustration, don't you worry. Mas may intindihan nyo siya. Pero ngayon, theory muna tayo para later, alam nyo na yung mga pinagsasabi ko dito. Mind you, hindi ko naintindihan ang bank reconciliation until third year ako. Ewan ko, mahina talaga utak ko nung first year, second year college ako. So third year lang tayo medyo nagkakaroon ng utak. Kaya kung naintindihan nyo na yan ngayon, good for you guys. Or baka sobrang, o diba, advanced na kayo. Pero before kasi hindi rin, paano ba? Before kasi, bibigyan ka lang ng activity, sagutan mo na, or magbasa ka, sagutan mo na. Accounting, feeling ko accounting doesn't work that way eh. Kailangan talaga siyang ituro sa'yo. Kailangan talaga siyang himayin sa'yo. Oo, babalikan niyo yan. Sa cash. Kasi sa cash, per line sa college, per line item yung pag-aaralan nyo. If I'm not mistaken, parang first year assets. So, iisa-isahin nyo yan. Cash. Tapos na yung tapos na yung topic na cash, move on kayo, accounts receivable. Tapos na yung accounts receivable, move on, next chapter, property, plant, and equipment. Move on, intangible asset. Move on, biological asset. So, ito talaga, more on overview lang. Kasi on your accounting subjects, per line item, i-discuss nyo. Lahat ng mga items na pumapasok sa cash, lahat ng mga examples ng receivable, lahat ng examples ng property, plant, and equipment, along with computation of depreciation, dun nyo siya malalaman on a deeper level. Okay? That's why it's very important na ngayon pa lang may idea na kayo. At kung ngayon pa lang naiintindihan nyo na yung mga bagay-bagay, then good for you. Baka easy pass yan sa pag nag-accounting na kayo. Pero if hindi naman, carry lang. Baka trip nyo yung ibang subject, baka yun yung calling nyo. Then kung saan kayo masaya, kung saan yung passion nyo, follow it. Next. Of course, if meron kang credit memo, which is an addition, if it's a credit memo, it's an addition to your ledger balance. So in order for you to be reconciled with your bank, you need to add it on your book balance. Next, if we have credit memos, we also have debit memos. What are debit memos? These are deductions or bank debits. Ito yung mga ito yung mga transactions na naka-debit kay bank, pero hindi mo alam na nabawas pala sa mga accounts mo. Again guys credit memos and debit memos are different from bank errors. Yung na-discuss natin kanina, yung bank errors, mali talaga yon. But these credit memos and debit memos, these are valid charges. These are valid transactions. Okay? So, hindi lang talaga alam ni book at the moment. Pero these are indeed valid transactions of the company. So, what are debit memos naman? These are deductions or bank debits made by the bank to the depositor's bank account but not yet recorded by the depositor. So, ibig sabihin, bawas na sa bank statement mo pero hindi mo pa alam. So, kung ang balanse natin ngayon, 580, and meron kang mga debit memos amounting to 80,000 sa bangko mo, therefore, si bank, 500K na lang, ikaw, 580 pa rin. Okay? So, ano ibig sabihin nun, ma'am? Ibig sabihin nun, si bangko, meron siyang mga binayaran, meron ng mga na-debit sa account mo amounting to 80,000. Ikaw, wala ka pang idea. Okay? But not yet recorded by the depositor, hindi mo pa alam. Until the time na makita mo yung bank statement. Okay? So, ano yung mga example nun? This includes bank service charges. Kunwari, paano ba? Bank service charge, minimum balance fee. So, kung yung bangko mo, 25,000 dapat yung minimum balance, and it so happened na naging 20K na lang yung balance, may charge yun. Okay? And normally, makikita mo lang yun pag na-generate na yung bank statement. Uy, nabawasan ako ng 500 kasi minimum balance fee. So, those are bank charges. Tsaka mo pala ngayon i-record sa libro mo. Debit, bank charges, credit, cash in bank. Ibig sabihin, nabawasan yung cash mo. Next, no sufficient funds check. Ano ibig sabihin yan, ma'am? Di ba kanina si Gardenia, inisyuhan siya ni company ng cheque amounting to 20,000. Etong si Gardenia, tinamad pang mag-deposit. 4th month na, uy, kailangan ko ng pera, kailangan ko ng 20,000. Punta siya ngayon kay BPI Pasig. BPI Pasig, pa-encash naman ako nitong 20,000 check from ABM company. So, ayan yung binayad natin sa kanyang cheque. Ngayon, pagka-deposit niya ng cheque, babayaran na dapat siya ni bank. Pagtingin, 18,000 na lang yung pera ni bank. Okay? So, yung cheque nakasulat 20,000. Pero yung pera na lang ni bank, pera na lang ni company sa bank, 18,000. Therefore, no sufficient funds yun. Alright? Na-record na sa libro, uy, okay nagbayad na tayo, debit, inventory, gardenia, credit, cash in bank. Sa record ni book, bayad na kami kasi nagbigay na siya ng cheque. Pero, sa record ni bank, hindi pa. Okay? And sa record din niya sa flyer, hindi pa. Until the time na ma-encash ko yan. So, ano mangyayari ngayon, ma'am? Kung wala yung bangko, i-reverse mo ngayon yung entry mo. Okay? So, paano natin ngayon ma-reverse yung entry natin? It will be a deduction against the book balance of the company. Alright? Kasi, no sufficient funds check, mababawasan yung account ni, yung bank balance nabawasan yung bank balance ni company and ikaw, wala kang idea. Guys, ma'am, paano po mababawasan? Wala ng cheque. Guys, kapag kasi tumatalbog yung cheque mo, kapag kulang yung balanse ng account mo, at may nagpasok na cheque sa account mo, tatalbog yun. Okay? Doon ngayon pumapasok yung bouncing check. And malaki yung charge nun. Per bounce, 2,500 yung charge. So ngayon, si bangko, mababawasan ngayon yung account mo ng 2,500. Hindi ibabawas ni bangko yung 20,000 ha. Ang bawas ni bank 2,500, which is the non-sufficient funds check. Okay? And then ngayon, pag nakita, paano pong talbog, ma'am? Kanwari, si Gardenia, di ba, 20,000 yung hawak niyang check Punta siya kay BPI. 18,000 na lang yung laman ni BPI. Hindi ka bibigyan, hindi mag-aabono yung bangko, guys ha. Hindi mag-aabono yung bangko para doon sa difference. Hindi, uy, sige, anong ko na muna, bigyan ko muna ka ng 20,000, singilin ko na lang si ABM company. Hindi. Ang gagawin ni bangko, si-charge niya ngayon si company o hindi ka nagme-maintain ng account mo, may papasok ka palang cheque, etong sa'yo, 2,500, non-sufficient, fund check penalty. Right? So, minus ka ngayon, X ka ngayon. Following. And, guys, ang bouncing check, kapag lagi-laging nangyayari, kumari intentional na, issue ka ng issue ng cheque, wala lang pondo yung account mo, that can be a ground for estafa. So, ibig sabihin nun, parang nanloloko ka na lang, nagbabayad ka ng mga suppliers, ng cheque. Kasi you can just write a check and then give it to the supplier. They wouldn't know if may pondo ba o wala yung account mo until the time na i-deposit nila yan. Doon magkakaalaman. Okay? So, kung na-deliver na nila yung mga in-order mo, si company, dinisplay niya na yan sa grocery niya, and then, eto bayad ko 100,000. Pagpunta ngayon sa bangko nung supplier, uy, wala palang pera to. Bili lang bili, issue lang ng issue ng cheque. So, if madalas na siyang nangyayari, ibig sabihin, di ba, parang fraudulent na yung transaction niya. Intentional na yung transaction. So, that can be a ground for estafa. And estafa, pwede kang makulong for doing that. Okay? And lastly, of course, if we have bank errors, bank na yon, di ba? Machine na yung gamit doon. What more? Feeling ko mas maraming mali sa book errors. Especially if traditional ka, nasa libro sulat mo pa. Mas maraming mali ang pwedeng mangyari. So, if it's an erroneous debits and credit by the banks in the entity's account. Should be by the erroneous debits and credits by the bank in the entity's account. So, if that's the case, okay, you have to add it back. If it's an erroneous debit, ibig sabihin, dinebit mo yung account, you have to add it back. And then, if it's an erroneous credit, you have to deduct it. Nakakalito dito, pero sige, lagyan natin ng numbers. Again ha, bank reconciling item, we have 3. Hindi nakakalito yon: deposit in transit, outstanding checks, tsaka bank errors. Okay? Bank yon, bank lahat. Ledger naman or book balance, we have credit memo, debit memo, and book errors. So, we actually have 3 methods sa bank reconciliation. First, let's start with the adjusted balance method. So, paano yan? We'll start with the bank balance. So, si bank balance, ito yung unadjusted bank balance. Ibig sabihin, month end, ito lang talaga yung na-generate ni bank. So, in order to reconcile it, in order to adjust it, in order to correct it, first thing that you need to do, you need to check for any deposit in transit. Okay? Next, you have to deduct the outstanding checks. Next, add or minus mo yung bank error. Again, if it's an erroneous credit, ibig sabihin, kinredit mo erroneously yung account ni company, you need to deduct it back kasi dinagdagan mo erroneously eh. And if you have debited that erroneously, ibig sabihin, binawasan mo yung account ni company incorrectly. In order to correct it, you have to add it back. You'll arrive at your adjusted bank balance. Ayan lang yung tatlong transactions that you need to remember in order for you to arrive at your adjusted bank balance. Ibig sabihin, this is the correct bank balance. Now, we cannot perform bank reconciliation if we don't have the ledger balance. So, ledger balance, ito yung libro mo. Ito yung libro ng company. So, first thing that you need to add is notes collected by bank. So, kanina, di ba? These are the payments paid directly to the bank. Walang idea si company pa. So, in order to correct it, in order to catch it up, you need to add it sa libro mo. Next, interest earned. So, syempre, if you have bank deposits, like ka nagde-deposit, kumikita yon, kumikita yung pera mo. So, nadadagdagan yung cash mo. That is a bank credit memo. Okay? Kasi nag-i-increase yung cash mo, nakikredit yung cash mo. So, add mo yung interest earned. And as I've checked, so as discussed, if there are no sufficient funds checked, you need to deduct it on your ledger balance. And for any service charge, say for example, minimum amount fee, minimum maintaining balance, so bawas mo yan. Okay? Kasi mababawasan yung account mo. And then for any book errors, kunwari, nagkamali ka ng sulat sa libro mo, imbes na 100 pesos, imbes na 150 pesos yung expense na binayaran mo, sinulat mo lang 50 pesos. So in order to correct it, bawasan mo pa ng additional 100 para maging 150 pesos yung total na deduction mo sa ledger. And example, tawag mo rito, you have just recorded 20 pesos. Dapat 80 pesos yan. So in order to correct it, magkakaroon ka ngayon ng plus 60 pesos para maging 80 pesos yung total amount mo. So guys, sa book error, ang kailangan nyo lang i-record to correct it is yung difference. Okay? So example, initially you have already recorded 10 pesos and you should have recorded 100. Kailangan, ang step mo, i-record mo na lang yung balance or yung kulang, which is 90 pesos. You don't need to record the entire amount. Kasi if na-record mo yung entire 100, magiging 110 na yon. Sobra-sobra ka na. Off ka na naman. Okay? So these are the book reconciling item. These are an example of credit memos. Ibig sabihin, additions made to the bank na hindi alam ni book. NSF check and service charge. These are the debit memos, meaning these are the deductions made in the bank na walang idea si book. And lastly, book error. Ito, internal error ito. Pagkakamali ni accountant, pagkakamali kung sino man yung gumagawa ng libro. So that's why you need to correct it internally. And we arrive at our adjusted book balance. The only way that you know na, reconciled na tayo, if this bank balance is equal to your book balance. So, para mag-confirm mo yan, kailangan balance yung dalawa. If ito kulang ng 100, ibig sabihin, meron ka pang something na nawawala. You need to recheck your items. Okay? So guys, I need you to remember these things kasi yung next natin, that's another way of reconciling your account. If it's understood, guys, please type number 6 before I move on. Okay, cool. So, meron din naman tayong tinatawag na bank-to-book method. So, ma'am, paano po kapag yung question tricky? Binigay po yung unadjusted bank balance. Tsaka po, binigay yung adjusted book balance. Okay? Again ang binigay, unadjusted bank balance or yung unreconciled bank balance, tsaka yung adjusted book balance. Pero ang hinahanap, unadjusted book balance. Paano po namin masasolve yun, ma'am? So, ganito siya. Tuturuan ko kayo. Kaya siya tinawag na bank-to-book method kasi we will be starting from the bank balance. Okay, the unadjusted bank balance. And we will be arriving at the unadjusted book balance. Okay? Kasi if ang tanong is adjusted, ito na yun eh. As easy as this eh. Pero, there are times na ang hinahanap ito. Okay? Yung unadjusted or ito. Nawawala to, ang given lang ito, tsaka ito. So, paano ko ngayon makukuha to? Eh, hindi naman parehas to. Ito sure ako parehas to. Pero itong dalawa, hindi yan parehas. So, paano ko ngayon, ma'am, makukuha tong ledger balance na to? Kasi ang problem, bank balance daw, 5,000. And then, binigay din po yung adjusted bank balance, 20,000. Therefore, sure ako na ang adjusted book balance, 20,000 din. Pero hindi yun yung hinahanap, ma'am. Ito yung hinahanap. Ito yung hindi ako sure kung paano ko ngayon masusolve. Okay? Guys, ganito lang technique niya, no? If ito ang hinahanap, yan to gawin mo. Ganun lang. Ikot mo siya. Ibig sabihin, bank balance, add mo to, minus mo to, plus or minus mo to, depende sa effect. Pagdating dito, reverse formula. Kasi upward ka eh, paakyat ka. So, kung dito minus mo yung book error, i-add mo. Kung minus mo yung service charge, i-add mo. Kung i-minus mo yung NSF check, i-add mo. Kung in-add mo yung interest earned, i-minus mo. Kung in-add mo yung notes dito, i-minus mo. Then, you'll arrive now at your ledger balance. Other way around. If ang hinahanap naman si bank balance, si unadjusted bank balance, given si ledger balance, given to, given to. What do I need to do? Kailangan kong hanapin to. E the other way, from ledger balance, computein mo muna siya. Minus book error. Pagdating dito, reverse formula. If it's an addition, subtract it. If it's a deduction, add it. Outstanding check, i-add mo. Deposit in transit, i-minus mo. Why? Kasi kapag ni-reverse mo yung formula dito, ibig sabihin, tinanggal mo lahat ng adjustments. Okay? Di ba balik ka ngayon dito sa unadjusted bank balance? So again, umikot lang. Kung upward yan, reverse formula. Pag downward, copy this formula. Pero pag aakyat na, reverse the formula. So ma'am, medyo nakakalito. Ay, di latag natin. Bank to book. Bank balance, ibig sabihin, this is the unadjusted bank balance. Walang reconciling item so far. So, in order for us to get the book balance, first thing that you need to do is to reconcile the bank. Get the adjusted bank balance. So, how do we get the adjusted bank balance? Of course, indicate all reconciling item. Ano ba reconciling item natin sa bank? First, deposit in transit. In-add mo. Okay? Next, outstanding check. Deduction. Next, add mo yung bank error or minus mo yung bank error depending on the transaction. With these three, adjusted na agad yung bank balance mo, right? But that's not the problem. We are not being asked sa adjusted bank balance. We are asked for the unadjusted book. So how do we get that? Again, tapos na natin lahat ng reconciling item ni bank. Let's reverse formula now. So if it's notes collected by bank, di ba, originally, ina-add natin siya. So we have to deduct it. Same with interest earned, deduct it. NSF check, originally we are deducting it. That's why we are adding it back. Same with the service charge. And then book error, if we have deducted it before, then we'll have to add it back. If you have added it back before, you have to deduct it back. When you reverse these formulas, okay, from here to here, then you'll arrive at your ledger balance. Ma'am, nakakalito po. Paano po yan, ma'am? Nababaliw na ako. Kasi guys, 'di ba, si bank balance, pag inad mo yung deposit in transit, si outstanding check, tsaka si bank error, anong nakukuha natin? Adjusted bank balance, right? And we all know na si adjusted bank balance is same with the adjusted book balance. Alright? Adjusted book balance, parehas lang yan. Kaya ang ginagawa natin, binabaliktad natin yung formula para bumalik tayo doon sa reversing the formulas. Nasundan? If nasundan, please type 7. Okay. Siyempre, if we have book-to-bank method, there are times naman na binigay ang book balance, ang nawawala naman si bank balance. Ganun lang din. So, in this case, let's start naman with the ledger balance. Use the usual formula. Plus notes collected, plus interest earned, minus NSF, minus service charge, plus or minus book error. Now, we'll arrive at our adjusted book balance. But that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the book balance. So next thing that we need to do is to reverse the formula affecting the bank. Again, yung makukuha natin dito, it is the same as the adjusted bank balance. Okay? And ang hinahanap natin is yung unadjusted bank balance. So that's why we are reversing the formula. So minus deposit in transit plus outstanding check plus or minus bank error will arrive now at our bank balance. So ganun lang din. Kung paano yung ginawa natin sa bank to book, ganun lang din yung gagawin mo sa book to bank. All you need to remember is the effect of this reconciling items. Okay, so much for the theories, guys. Let's start with the problem para maunawaan nyo siya lalo. So, ABM company maintains cash in ABCD Bank. So, si ABM company daw, may pera kay ABCD Bank. Nag-open siya ng account. The following information was made available for the month of October 2020. The bank statement at the end of the month shows 10,000. So guys, kapag ganito lang yung given, di ba, bank statement at the end of the month, meaning this is still unadjusted, ha? Don't get confused. Unless sinabi rito, the adjusted bank statement. Ibig sabihin, yun na agad yun. Yun na agad yung adjusted bank balance. But if it's just the bank statement at the end of the month, meaning we are still talking at the unadjusted amount. Okay? So the bank statement at the end of the month shows 10,000. Deposits not yet reflected in the bank statement is 84K. Alam mo na agad na this is a deposit in transit kasi hindi pa daw nagre-reflect sa bank. Checks issued but not yet in cash by the bearer. So, ito parang yung kay Gardenia kanina. In-issue na ni company, pero tinamad pa si bearer or si paying in cash. This is already recorded as a credit to the cash in bank. O, di ba, kinikredit yon? Debit, inventory Gardenia, credit cash in bank. Kapag kasi nag-i-issue ka ng check na feeling mo, nababawasan na agad yung cash mo. Credit to the cash and bank balance of ABM's book amounting to 65K. So this is already an outstanding check. If you have pen and paper with you, you can write it and try following the reconciling items that we've discussed earlier. So you already have your bank statement balance. You also have your deposit in transit, so you have to add it back. And you also have your outstanding check, which is a deduction. Next, the bank made an error. Okay, nagkamali daw si bank. Guys please be mindful of this kung sino yung nagkamali. So the bank made an error of debiting. Alright, so dinebit ni bank yung account ni ABM. Ibig sabihin, ABM company amounting to 4,000. So ibig sabihin, you erroneously deducted ABM company's account. So in order to correct it, you need to add it back. Kailangan mo ngayong i-add itong 4,000 dito sa 10,000. So, 10,000 plus 84 minus 65 plus 4,000. Wala ng other items dito affecting the bank. So, that should be your adjusted bank balance. Okay? So, if you have pen and paper with you, might as well follow it para mababalikan nyo. Next, the ledger shows a cash in bank balance of 12,000. So, sa libro nyo naman daw, meron kang recorded na cash in bank balance na as recorded dun sa libro niya daw, meron siyang perang nagkakahalagang 12,000 kay BPI Pasig. So, notes receivable collected by bank for ABM amounted to 16,000. So, nakakolect na ng notes. Therefore, you have to add it back. Okay, that's a book reconciling item. Nag-record daw si bank ng 16,000 sa bank statement niya. Hindi mo pa alam na meron palang nakolekta si bank. In order to correct it, i-add mo ngayon sa book balance. And then interest earned. So kumita daw si ABM company for depositing cash to ABCD company amounting to 5,000. So this is also an addition. ABCD Bank charged ABM of 1,000 service charge. So may service charge amounting to 1K. If it's a charge, therefore, it's a deduction. ABM received a check from CBFS company amounting to 7,000, but it was drawn against insufficient funds. So guys, si ABM company, naka-receive siya ng cheque kay CBFS. So in this case, tayo si ABM, di ba, may nagbayad sa atin. Binayad sa atin cheque. So the moment na nagbayad sa atin ng cheque, ang record na agad natin nun, debit cash. Okay, nagbayad ng cheque eh. Whoever company is. Ngayon, i-deposit mo na. I-deposit mo na yung cheque dun sa account mo kay BPI Pasig. Uy, BPI Pasig, may nag-deposit sa akin ng cheque. Deposit mo nga dyan sa ABM company account ko. Nung i-deposit na kay BPI, hindi na cleared. Ibig sabihin, walang pondo yung kumpanyang nagbayad sa'yo. Walang pondo si CBFS company. Alright? That's why, hindi ngayon pumasok yung payment. So, in order to correct it on your books, diba, originally, nag-record ka na, nagbayad na siya sa akin ng cheque eh. So, debit cash, credit accounts receivable. You need to reverse that entry. Magiging debit accounts receivable ka ulit, credit cash. So, ibig sabihin, mawawala ngayon yung cash na initially ni-record mo sa libro mo. That's why it's a deduction, yung NSF check. Guys, this insufficient fund is different pa from bouncing check, as discussed earlier. Sorry, medyo nalito ako ron. So, this is NSF check. Ganun yung meaning ng NSF check. It's the check paid to the company, to us, and we've recorded it as cash received, but when deposited to our bank, hindi na clear dahil kulang pala yung pondo nung kumpanyang nagbayad sa atin. Therefore, hindi natin may enkasyon. And if hindi mo ma-enkasyon, ibig sabihin, kailangan mo ngayong bawasan yung record mo sa libro mo. Okay? Lastly, there was a book error which erroneously credited the ledger balance by 8,000. So guys, if it's a book error and you have credited your books, ibig sabihin, nag-credit ka ng cash e nasa libro ka, therefore, binawasan mo. Okay? Binawasan mo yung cash mo. So in order to correct it, you have to add it back. So sige, latag natin. It goes this way. So, our unadjusted bank balance, ito yan, 10,000. And then we have our deposit in transit of 84K, add. Next, we have outstanding check of 65, minus. And then we have bank error. Again, we have debited the account. The bank debited the account, so binawasan niya yung account ni ABM Company in order to correct 33,000. Dapat 33,000 pesos yung adjusted cash in bank natin. So let's move on to ledger. Sabi dito, ang cash in bank balance daw is, as per ledger, is 12,000. And then there's a notes collected by the bank, which is 16K. Also, ABM earned an interest of 5. ABM of 1,000 service charge. And then we have an NSF check amounting to 7,000. Again, NSF check, this is the check paid to us. And then the moment na i-encash na dapat natin siya, wala pa lang po, it again doon sa cash balance natin per book. And lastly, nagkaroon daw ng error, alright? So, kinredit mo yung ledger balance mo by 8,000. Binawasan mo yung cash mo per book ng 8,000. So, in order to correct it, you have to add it back. And you should be getting 33,000 as well. So, as you can see, adjusted cash in bank balance is the same as your adjusted cash in bank balance. Therefore, they are reconciled. Okay? Any question, guys? Clarification? Nilagyan ko lang ng amount lahat ng diniscuss natin kanina para makita nyo lang how it works. If it's clear, please type 8. Alright, cool. Of course, nagkakaroon tayo ng adjusting entries. Ba't tayo nagkakaroon ng adjusting entries? Kasi we are reconciling the account eh. Si bank, wala yung pakialam sa atin. Okay? Yung bank reconciliation, ginagawa mo lang yan sa loob ng kumpanya mo. Hindi mo sinasabihan si bank, uy bank, patingin naman ng bank reconciliation mo dyan, oh. Tingnan ko lang kung match sa akin. Hindi. Walang pakialam si bank sa'yo. Si bank may sarili niyang bank reconciliation, pero kumpanya niya. Ikaw, may sarili kang kumpanya, gumawa kang sarili mong bank recon. Ang tanging ipoprovide lang sa'yo ni bank is yung bank statement niya month end. Yun na yung i-reconcile mo. Okay? So, if meron ka mga mali sa libro mo, ang ginagawa natin ng adjusting entries is lahat lang ng mali sa libro mo. Lahat ng mali ni bank sa libro niya, wala tayong pakialam doon. Okay? Dito lang tayo ngayon magkakaroon ng adjusting entries sa libro natin. Sige, latag natin yan. So, unang-una, nakakolekta raw si bank ng notes. Ibig sabihin, may nagbayad. So, if may nagbayad sa'yo, you need to perform adjusting entries. May nagbayad kay bank, hindi mo pa alam, para nung nalaman mo, kailangan mo ngayong maglagay ng entry. Okay, para pumasok siya sa total cash in bank balance mo. So, itong 16,000 na to, gagawan mo siya ng entry, ganito yung magiging entry niya. Papasukan ka ng cash, yung babawasan ka ng notes receivable, amounting to 16,000. Okay? Next, kumita ka daw ng interest. So, paano ngayon natin i-entry ang interest earned? Debit, cash in bank, ibig sabihin, dagdagan yung cash mo 5,000. Credit, interest revenue. Okay, sa income statement mo, meron kang additional income, which is an interest revenue. Next, bank service charge of 1,000. So, ano yung entry niyan? Debit, bank service charge. Pagtingin mo ng income statement, may kita ka ron, bank charge expense, 1,000, deduction. And therefore, if it's an expense, we're crediting the cash. Okay? Bawas. Next, NSF check. 7,000. So, akala mo, nagbayad na sa'yo yung supplier mo, kaya initially, nag-entry ka, debit cash, credit accounts receivable. Mali pala, wala palang pondo yung account niya, o di nire-reverse natin ngayon yung initial entry natin. Binabalik natin ngayon. magiging debit accounts receivable ulit, ibig sabihin, sisingilin mo na naman ulit sa kanyang 7,000 na to, credit, cash and bank. Nabawasan ngayon yung cash and bank mo. Kasi initially, nag-record ka, debit, cash and bank, credit, accounts receivable. We are just reversing the entries to correct it. Kasi wala pa naman palang pambayad tong si CBFS company. And lastly, nagkamali ka, karoon ka ng error, erroneously, kinredit mo yung account mo. So, to correct it, ibalik mo. Debit, cash in bank. So, dinagdagan mo ulit yung 8K. And then, credit miscellaneous account. So, whatever that account is, hindi naman mention sa problem. So, yun yung is-credit natin. Alright? So, these are the entries that we need to perform kapag nagbabank recon tayo. And again, ginagawa niyo lang ng adjusting entry yung libro nyo. Wala tayong pakialam sa libro ni bank. Nasundaan, guys? Please type 9 if it is understood. Almost done na tayo, ah. Don't worry. Section 7, saglit lang ha. Mag-attendance tayo real quick. Okay? And of course, gawin naman natin siya sa bank-to-book method. So, bank-to-book daw, let's start with the bank. Of course, unadjusted bank, which is 10,000. And then, ilatag mo lahat ng bank reconciling item with formulas as usual. So, deposit in transit, add 84, outstanding check, error, which is 4,000. Ngayon, skip natin to. Kasi ito yung hinahanap daw natin, itong 12,000. So, in order to get it, kailangan mong mag-reverse formula. If dito, notes receivable by the bank for ABM, we have added it before. Now, we are deducting it. Same with interest earned, we are deducting it. Before, we have deducted bank service charge. Now, we are reversing the formula. So, we're adding it back, 1,000. Same with NSF check, 7,000. And then, there's a book error. We have erroneously credited, kaya dati inad natin siya. But since we are performing a bank-to-book method, we are now deducting it. So, perform the formula. Okay? So, itong apat, kapag ito lang bina-refer mo, makukuha mo na yung adjusted bank balance. But that's not the problem. Ang hinahanap natin is si ledger balance. Si unadjusted ledger balance or unadjusted book balance. So, that's why we have reversed these formulas. So, you can be sure na tama yung sagot mo because yung nakuha mong 12,000, it's the same as this one. Sa given. Okay? So, chinek lang natin if pag ginamit ba natin yung bank-to-book method, pag ni-reverse ko ba yung formula ang sinasabi mo, ma'am, makuha ko yung tamang sagot? Answer is yes. Okay? Siyempre, if we have bank-to-book, let's do it the other way. Book-to-bank naman tayo. We're starting from the books. So, ang starting point mo is si 12,000. And then, ilatag mo lahat nung book reconciling item as is. So, notes collected by bank, normal, add mo. Interest earned, add mo. Bank service charge, minus mo. NSF check, i-minus mo. Book error, okay, i-add mo. And then, lahat ng bank reconciling item, reverse formula. Deposit in transit, kung bank yung nare-reconcile natin, should be an addition. But since we are performing book-to-bank method, we have to reverse formula. That's why we are deducting 84K. Outstanding check, dapat minamino siya. But since we are performing book-to-bank, we are now adding it back. Same with the bank error. Instead of adding it, we are now deducting it. So, add, minus, minus, add, minus. You should be getting your unadjusted bank balance. And this unadjusted bank balance must be the same with this one. Okay? So, this is just a checking lang. Para lang alam nyo na, ay, yung okay. And last. Sige. Last na to, guys. Promise. So, this is the transaction of BPI ABM Company. This is the bank statement na binigay ni BPI Bank. And then, ito yung record mo per ledger. balance per bank statement. So, first thing that you need to do is to get the balance per bank statement. So, saan ko kaya makikita yun? Ito yan. So, this is the unadjusted bank balance amounting to, sige, mamaya na. Latag muna natin, deposit in transit, outstanding check equals adjusted bank balance. So, balance per bank statement, ito yan. Okay? Normally, makikita nyo yan sa bank statement nyo, end of the month, bank balance, ayan yan. 108K. Ito yung unadjusted balance per bank statement natin. Now, let's check for the deposit in transit. Ma'am, ang dami naman yan. Paano ko malalaman kung saan dyan deposit in transit? So, sabi, December 1 daw, nag-deposit daw si ABM company ng 100K. So, tingnan natin ngayon sa bank statement kung pumasok yung deposit. So, ayun. So, okay. Alright, hindi yan deposit in transit kasi pumasok, umabot. Next, check natin si 50,000. Nag-deposit daw tayo noong December 21. Pumasok ba? Yes, pumasok. Pero noong 27 na kasi siguro holiday na yan. Hindi na umabot sa cut-off. So, noong December 27 na pumasok yung 50K ko. Pero nandyan. So, hindi yan deposit in transit. Next, December 27, nag-deposit ka daw uli ng 10K. Pumasok ba? Yes, pumasok. Pero noong December 29 na pumasok. So, carry lang. And lastly, December 31, meron bang pumasok dyan na 80,000? Wala, di ba? May nakikita ba kayong 80K? May pumasok ba sa bangkong 80,000? Wala. So, ibig sabihin, noong December 31, si ABM Company nag-deposit ng 80,000 pero hindi na umabot sa cut-off. Therefore, it is treated as deposit in transit. Diniposit ni company pero hindi umabot sa bank. Alright? So, yun ang ibig sabihin ng deposit in transit. Outstanding check. Tingnan naman natin yan. So, nung December 4 daw, si ABM Company nag-issue ng cheque amounting to 5,000. In-encash ba? Yes, in-encash. Ayan na, makikita mo ha, check 101, check 101. Next, check 103, 40,000, nag-issue ng cheque. Pumasok, yes. Next, check 104, meron ba? Oh, there. In-encash din. Next, check 106, 25K. Ayun, pumasok din. In-encash. Ayan lang, ma'am, yung nakikita naming cheque eh. Wala na pong ibang cheque dyan. So, ibig sabihin, si check 102, si check 105, at si check 107, these are the checks issued by ABM Company but are not yet encashed. Therefore, these are the ones called outstanding checks. So, if you have to total it 15 plus 30 plus 50, you have 95,000 negative. And then, wala namang error sa book. So, pag error in book, dito ka lang titingin. Therefore, our adjusted bank balance is 93,000. Okay? And, syempre, check natin kung reconcile tayo. Balance per books naman tayo. So, ma'am, paano yan? E di, kunin mo yung, latag muna natin lahat. Kunin mo yung balance per books. Paano? Total mo lahat ng debit cash mo. Magkano yan? 100 plus 50 plus 10 plus 80 equals to 40. And then lahat ng cash disbursement mo. Add mo lahat yan. Total yan 175. So deposits less disbursement. Total cash mo dapat 65,000. So that is your unadjusted balance per books or your beginning cash. So that 65,000 goes here. Okay? And then you have to add back your credit memo. Again, if for book reconciling item, you need to check naman doon sa mga transactions ni bank. Baka meron mga pumasok na amounts na hindi alam ni books. So first is credit memo. Yan, nakasulat na CM. Your account has been credited by 30,000. So add 30K. And then meron daw tayong service charge. Your account has been debited. So that's 2,000. It's a deduction. Ayan lang. Nabilugan na natin lahat. Wala na tayong hindi nabilugan dyan. Therefore, compute it. 65 plus 30 minus 2. Your adjusted book balance is 93,000. Your adjusted bank balance is 93,000 as well. Therefore, you are now reconciled. Okay? Naintindihan, guys? If yes, please type 10. Aha. Saglit lang ha. Section 7. Attendance tayo. Mabilis. Sorry. Guys, please make sure to review this ha. Sorry, medyo nabitin tayo sa time, but buti na-capture natin everything. And if you have questions along the way while reviewing it, please let me know. Okay? Saan na tayo? Stop ko muna yung recording.